Welcome to Finance Leaders Retirement Insights, the broadcast where we sit down with thought leaders in the world of finance who reveal their unexpected wisdom on the issues impacting retirement.
Welcome to the Finance Leaders Podcast. This is the show where we highlight the stories, insights, and expertise of financial advisors who are making a lasting impact on their clients and the financial industry. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Domenick D'Andrea, co-founder and financial advisor at the DanDarah Wealth Management. Domenick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Daniel. Pleasure to meet you also.
Awesome. You know what, to start, can you share a little bit more about your journey in the financial advising world and what really inspired you to pursue this career, and how did you get started with your company?
That's a great question. Just over 30 years ago, I graduated college. Actually, closing on 31 years now, actually. I thought the financial service industry would be a great place for me to start my life and my career, be able to help people, planning for all the different goals. And it's been nothing but rewarding since then. I've since helped many children go to college, many families retire, buy homes, and whatnot. So it gives me pleasure every day, month, and year that I'm in the industry, knowing that some family I'm helping is going to obtain a goal that they might not have been able to do without somebody like myself helping them.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, listen, 30 years is a long time to be in the industry. What are some of the biggest changes that you've kind of seen in the industry, in financial advising, and how have they shaped kind of how you serve your clients today?
That's a great question. So how it changes, when we first started, it was yellow pads and paper. Tech didn't exist. Like right now, we're doing a Zoom call, for this podcast. That did not exist. That, it was, you had to go meet the people in their house, meet the people in your office, and do all the calculations on your own. We weren't carrying laptops around with us and phones that are better computers than the first laptop I bought. So I like to pride, our team, DanDarah Wealth Management, on, we still have the old school, get to know our clients, let them know we're there for them, like house call, old doctor, the doctor that came to your house. But we bring the new in, we bring the tech in so we can analyze their data, analyze their risk, build their portfolios, build their plans. So we like to do a combination of the old and the new. We're not going to just go all tech and be robotic with them. We want them to still know we're human beings behind everything.
Yeah, I think that's the important part. I mean, with technology and everything that's coming in, people still want to go and have that relationship and work with you on that. So that's great. So is there a particular experience or a lesson that you've learned early in your career that still really influences the approach of how you do financial planning today?
Absolutely. Early in my career, somebody, a senior advisor didn't want to go see this one family because they didn't live in the best neighborhood. And I went and saw them, and they needed help, and I was able to help them. They had the means to be helped. So, I learned, don't judge a book by their cover. I will go meet anybody, at least once to see if our story or our ideals match up together, so I can help them, because everybody deserves to be helped. Everybody that wants to be helped, we're going to give them a chance to help them and utilize our resources for them if we match.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Now, from going a little bit deeper into this question, is there something from the financial planning side of things, or something that you have learned when it comes down to, I believe that everybody kind of has these money stories, as you have been going through your career, is there something that you have learned early in your career that was like, wow, this is a really kind of a life change, not only for me, but for my clients, what I can go and share with them?
That's a tough question because there's lots of different ways I can go that route. The biggest thing that every person I meet with, every financial story that we meet with, is most people don't understand truly how risk works. So it's been a story that's worked from day one through now. They think, a lot of people think, oh, if I'm risky, I'm going to lose all my money, or risky means I'm investing more money than I should invest. So we really try to get them to understand how risk works in their portfolio to drive the goals that they're looking to accomplish. So whether they're on the lower income, on the higher income, that's something that really ties into everybody we meet, is making sure that they understand how risk works specifically for their situation, not a generic, okay, you're 25 years old, you should be aggressive. You're 55 years old, you should be conservative. That's an outdated mechanism that, 30 years ago, that was how I was trained. Young people should be aggressive, old people should be conservative, or older people. I don't want to say old people. Now it's really we use analytics and tech to really let the client understand risk and how it's going to pertain to them and their goals, not just their age.
Oh, okay. Now, I know your firm is known for tailoring financial plans to each client's unique needs. Can you walk us through a bit of that process, kind of what it looks like for someone that would be new to come in and working with you?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So again, we'll sit down, me or my business partner Stefan. We'll sit down with you, whether it's in our office, your home, or Zoom, and we will. The first thing we do, first 20 minutes, half hour, is a conversation. We truly want to get to know you. We want to know what makes you tick. We want to know what your concerns are. What is your fears? We want you to ask us questions, because if you're going to work with us, we want you to know that you can pick up the phone and give us a call and know that you can ask us a question, because we want to be a resource in your planning. So that's the first process. We need to get to know you for the first 20 to 30 minutes. Once we get to know you, once you get to know us, and we see that it's something that we should move forward, as I stated, we do a risk questionnaire with each of our prospective clients, and we do them in our reviews with our clients over a period of time, because if you understand risk and understand how it pertains to your portfolios and your goals, then you can see how it's going to help you. Clients of ours that we've gone through this process with, and then we give them an investment policy statement that shows them how their portfolios can interact in different markets and different scenarios. And if it's down this much or up this much, and they're in that realm, they're comfortable. Because we want our clients to be comfortable with their investments. We want them to understand that they picked this, that they were in the driver's seat to say, okay, I'm willing to take on this much risk. Then we do our jobs and build the portfolio. But because they understand the mechanism that started with, they're more comfortable in downturns. Where back in 07, 08, we weren't using this software, this technology. Clients in 07, 08, they were scared. They were nervous because they didn't understand it, because it wasn't something that they were prepared for. Because even though we explained to them there was risk, even though we explained to them there were going to be ups and downs in the market, because they had nothing tangible to show them this is what can happen, and this is a reasonable downturn for the risk you were willing to take, they were extremely nervous, extremely scared, and we spent months talking to them, explaining to them, and calming them down. Now in 2020 and when COVID happened, and in 2022 when the market had its 2020 when it had recent downturns, the clients that have gone through this process, they were more comfortable, because they truly understood how risk reward worked in their individualized situation.
Yeah. Oh no, that's great. Now, listen, you kind of touched on it a little bit. We know that financial decision can be really overwhelming for many people. Is there how do you really ensure, when you're working with someone, with your clients, how do you ensure that they feel confident and that are informed as you're taking them through the whole process? Because the biggest thing is that financial planning is not like an event, it's a process. It takes time to go and do that. So how do you ensure that they feel kind of confident and informed as they're going through the process?
That's a great question. So once we've gone through the initial getting to know, we've done the risk tolerance, so we can see where they are, and we've accumulated any appropriate statements or financial information we need, we go back to our office, and depending on what their situation, we'll build a plan for them. We have a couple different softwares that we build plans for our clients. So we can show them that your percentage of success, we can give them a ballpark idea of what their percentage of success is for the plan. And we tell them it's something we're going to review on at least an annual basis. And that's going to change depending on the person's complexities in their plan. A more simple plan will be more like a year. And if somebody's really detailed, it might be more often, it might be quarterly. But we're going to analyze the plan as we're doing it. But they're going to first get a plan. We're not going to just come back and say, you should invest in X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be happy. We build them a plan so they know, okay, this is why they're buying this product. This is why they're buying this product. You know, it's not just we're trying to sell them something because we want to sell them something. We want to put them in the best potential vehicle that's going to help them attain that goal. And the planning software we're using is going to show them how that can potentially grow, because obviously everything is hypothetical because we're guesstimating rates of return going forward. But it's going to give them an idea. But we're going to tell them this is not the last time you're going to see this plan. We're going to analyze it, and we're going to change the numbers as we move along to the goal, because the goal is helping your kids go to college, helping you retire, helping you buy a home, whatever it might be. They're going to be involved throughout the process and seeing that we've moved along through the plan because we've redone the numbers, we've added stuff to it, we've changed goals. They got married, they had kids, whatever it might be. We want to be involved in any one of those major life changes, so we can help them make sure that whatever we started with is going to help them get there and finish.
Yeah. I mean, what you're really saying is that preparing a financial plan, having the plan and you presenting the plan, that's actually the beginning of the process.
Yes.
It's not done and over with. It's actually beginning of the process. Yeah. Now, have you noticed any common concerns or misconceptions that clients have about working with financial advisors, and how do you specifically address those concerns? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions what financial advisors do, or even what financial planning is.
That is a great question. The first thing I tell people is, look, you watch the news, you watch XYZ person on that says they're an expert. Take everything that any person says with a grain of salt, because no one on TV or in the newspaper can tell you what you should do, because your situation is different. You get a married couple with 2 kids. Well, are the kids the same age? Are the kids the same education level? Is the married couple, is it a 2-income family? Is it a 1-income family? Is one a higher earner, one a lower earner? What neighborhood do they live in? What schools do the kids go to? Is it private or public? There's so many factors that you need to meet with a professional to make sure that they're looking at all of your individualized factors, not just saying, well, here, a married couple with 2 kids, they should have this much life insurance, they should be saving this much money, they should have this much money in retirement. That's a physical impossible statement for any person that wants to do the right job by you to answer without sitting down with you. And anybody that tries to give you advice like that, I would send them out of your house. Like, we will not give you advice without having proper data, proper questions, and taking the time and energy to make sure we're giving you the best possible advice for your individual situation.
Yeah, I mean, if we translated and you mentioned doctors, it would be malpractice, because first you got to find out what specific problems or challenges or assets or things the individual has before you can actually go and start diagnosing anything, and let alone giving them an advice what they should or should not be doing with that.
Oh, absolutely. If I tell a doctor I got back pain can be caused by 1,000 different things. It could be as simple, I tweaked my back. It could be as bad as there could be cancer. So yeah, they can't, and they need to do proper testing. So yes, you're 100% right. And that's what, we pride ourselves on that. We're not going to just give you advice to say, okay, you have $100,000, you should invest it here because this is going to make you money. That's not a plan. That's just us selling you something, and we're not in the business to just sell something. Anything that we recommend, we're recommending because we feel genuinely that it's in your best interest, that we're putting you in the best potential situation for your future based on your financial resources and your goals.
Yeah. Now, you already touched on it a little bit about risk management, and I believe it's a crucial part of any financial plan. how do you really help your clients to manage the risk without really sacrificing growth and opportunities that we're just talking about it? A lot of people are always looking for, I would call it a tactic. How do I get a better rate of return? How do I get, how do I make more money? But, there is a risk that's associated with that. So how do you manage that?
That's a great question. We use a program called Riskalyze, and in that we can diversify your portfolio in a way that different markets will perform in different ways. And so we'll be able to show you this is the potential rate of return. So I've shown clients, investment portfolios that are taking on less risk than the portfolio they had, but because of how we were able to diversify it, utilizing the technology and software, they actually have a better potential return on the portfolio that has less risk than the portfolio they were in that had a higher risk. So that, that's where we're using our tech to help us analyze a client's portfolio and make sure they're in the best possible situation.
Yeah. So really what it comes down to, would you say that that's kind of your philosophy, and maybe you can go a little bit deeper into what is your philosophy when it comes down to balancing the protection with growth?
Oh, we will definitely, we definitely believe in balancing protection and growth. There are a variety of products out there that have buffer protection, whether it's investments or annuities, that we will utilize in some portfolios because we want clients to know, okay, if the market's down, maybe this particular buffered product will have a downside protection. Again, I'm not saying that that's right for every client. We have to sit down and make sure it's right for them or it's a need for them. But we 100% will always look at a protection strategy if necessary. We also will look at life insurance. We're not just planning the dollar sign. We want to make sure that there's protection on the down. If something happens to one of the family members, that the goals can happen because we protected the lives. So it's not just protecting the assets, it's also protecting the lives of the people that are building for those goals.
Yeah. No, exactly. Now, you already touched on this a little bit, technology. I mean, with AI and all these things that are coming in, technology is really changing how financial services operates. I think if you go back even, well, maybe 10 years ago, everybody thought that, financial advising is going to be gone because computers and AI is going to go and replace, advisors or that human connection. I personally believe there is always a time and place for, that relationship, and a computer can really go and do that. So how have you and your company really embraced new technologies? You kind of mentioned that a little bit to improve the client experience.
Well, we have, we use our client portal so the clients can see all their information in one nice location. So it's not, back in the day, you had to go to, if you had this company, this company, and this company, you had to go to each company to find what your valuations are. We have everything synced into one portal. So if we have you at a few different companies, you'll be able to see everything in one nice, easy location. As I stated, we use the risk software to help you start your process. We have a few planning softwares that were not available to me 30 years ago that help you with knowing how your plan is going to work, and we can analyze it. We have scheduling for clients, so you could go you can schedule an appointment with me without even calling me through our Calendly links. We use Zoom because there's clients that do not want, they don't want to clean their house, or like I have one client, she lives 2 hours away. She loves to see me and talk to me, but she felt, she used to feel bad that I drive 2 hours to maybe talk to her for an hour to drive 2 hours home. Now she loves being able to know that we can schedule a Zoom. She can get all the information she needs. She can be comforted and educated and know what's going on, but she knows that I didn't drive 2 hours to do that for her. So it makes her happy. So, we use it in many different levels. AI, I haven't used AI in the planning side of our business. But I use AI in my content sometimes for social media or for marketing, which helps out because it saves me time. And anything I can do to save time gives me more time to give back to my clients, prospective clients.
Yeah. I mean, again, technology is just a tool. It's how we use it that really gives
Yes.
us the return from that. So from your experience, what's the one piece of financial advice that you think that people today need to hear more of?
you need to sit down with a professional. You need, because even if you did some research and you know a few different things about investments, you're not going to know every product. If you've got, yes, you can do your taxes if you're got a simple 1040 EZ because you don't have any deductions. But once you get more detail, you need help. If you have legal problems, yes, you could go to some of these softwares where you can do some simple wills and simple different documents. But if it's something elaborate, you need a lawyer. Most people are not going to go sue somebody and go to court on their own. A doctor, you can go to WebMD, you can go, and get and look at things, but WebMD is going to answer what you think your diagnosis is, not what it really is. So it's always recommended to talk to a professional because they're going to see things you're not going to see. Money has the most emotional thing in anything in our lives. So if the market's down, most people that do not have financial advisors will sell at the most inappropriate times because they have nobody to talk to. If a client calls me up and the market's down and they want to do something, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, are you doing this because of the market, or are you doing it because you need money because you had an emergency? A computer is not going to do that. If they type in liquidate $10,000, the computer is going to do, great, I'm liquidating $10,000, done, thank you very much. And that's where the human touch comes in. That's where having the professional comes in. If they still want to sell because the market's down, it's their money. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, you can't do it. But at least I gave them the chance to make a more educated decision because they had somebody like me to talk to and bounce the idea off of. Or, I hear it all the time. Oh, my coworker, they're investing in this, that, and the other thing, and they're making this much money. I'm like, okay, did they tell you when they lost money? No. Okay, well, most people don't tell you when they lost, they tell you when they win. The markets, so we need to make sure that you're in a situation that, yes, are you potentially going to lose at some point? Yes, the market's going to go down. I can't stop the market, but let's mitigate that by proper diversification. So maybe you don't make as much money in a booming year because you're not willing to take that risk, but we hopefully cause you not to lose as much in a down year because we diversified and we built a plan and you worked with somebody that understands this and deals with this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what you're mentioning, the financial business is, it's emotional and it's logical too. And unfortunately, most people get it backwards when it comes down, or like you mentioned, people get emotional about the market going down. What is the meaning of it? It just means that the market is down. That's it. Like there is no really emotion. That's what markets do. Markets go up and markets go down. Unfortunately, a lot of people get emotionally attached to it where they put a meaning to it. And usually that meaning has something to do from their past or their past experience. And yes, a lot of people will go and sell at the wrong time and buy at the wrong time. It's kind of like they already missed the party,
Yes.
and they're coming to it when things have already happened, especially when they're taking the advice from a friend, because usually that friend is saying what they've already done, not what they're doing or what they're going to do. Because, yeah.
The funny thing is you talk about a story in the past. I mean, you just saying that, you made me think about, so back in 2000, we had the tech crash.
Yeah.
There were two tech funds. I won't mention them now because it's not here to disparage companies from the past, but they had a rocket-like rate of return. They skyrocketed. They were up hundreds of percent. And people saw that, oh, I want to buy this fund that's up 180%. Okay. Do you know that more people that bought that fund lost money than made money because they bought it at the 180% and then we had to crash? And they recovered. There's, the funds, came back, but they never came back to those levels because that wasn't prepared. So that's why I always say, don't just listen to a colleague. Make sure you're making a decision to work with what makes sense for you, not just because this is the hot tip of the day, because more people lose on those than they make.
Yeah, no, 100%. I remember those times. Yeah, there were quite a few technology funds that were all brand new and everything was nice and shining a bit. And most people that invest in it, the party was already over,
Right.
and they hang on to it thinking it's going to go back up. But yeah, as we know with the Nasdaq, it took quite many years to get back to where it was.
Yes.
So, listen, many of our listeners are business owners. What's the one, and I know we were not necessarily a tactic, but strategy or something that you recommend for entrepreneurs who want to secure their financial future? What's kind of the strategy that you would tell them that they need to be thinking about or looking into?
That's actually a great question. We actually work with business owners in retirement planning, and a lot of business owners aren't aware of the variety of retirement plans and tax credits the government give them. A lot of business owners will say, "Oh, I can't afford to do a retirement plan. It's going to cost me too much money. I'm going to have to give my employees money." They don't realize the tax credits they can get from doing a plan. They also aren't looking at it that if they were to give their employees a few extra dollars in a retirement plan, they're more likely to stay. And an employee that stays is somebody that's trained in how your business runs, and they could be running your business way better than them quitting, going somewhere else, and you hiring somebody, spending the time and money to train them. And that new employee might never get the business the way the person you just lost because they want a retirement plan. So I would highly recommend any small business owner look into what retirement plans are available, what the costs are, what the tax credits they could potentially get from the government are, and then make a decision if it makes sense cost-wise. Don't make the decision that you think it's expensive because the guy next door to you told you it was expensive because he didn't understand it or didn't ask questions. He just read something again in the paper or heard on the news. Retirement plans are expensive.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing you say, and I 100% agree with it, is that getting an advice from a friend, from another business owner, that might work. Whatever strategy or thing that they're doing might have worked for them, in because it was specifically maybe designed for them. But just going and listen to somebody, and because it worked for somebody, is not necessarily going to go and work for somebody else. But there is, and I think when it comes down to the tax code, what a lot of people don't understand, that most of the tax code is designed in a way how to pay less tax. I think I've heard the stat. I don't have the exact stat, but it's like, if there's 9,000 pages, there's maybe like 100 pages that talks about how you need to pay tax, and the another 8,900 are there how to pay less tax. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the misconception that a lot of individuals have, is that they feel like, I have to pay taxes. And when I was an advisor, I did have the talking about that people really have 4 assets, and one of the assets are contributory assets. And I would actually put taxes as an asset. And most people were looking at me, what do you mean taxes an asset? Well, you have a choice of how much you pay by structuring your taxes and expenses and everything you're doing. And I think that's what you're mentioning, that a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners don't understand that there are things in the tax code that they can use, that even though they're looking at, well, yeah, I've got to pay them, but they don't understand that it's credit toward taxes, and they actually get all of that money back, and even often more than if they didn't.
Yeah, a knowledgeable professional is going to help you pay as little taxes as you possibly can legally. I'm not here, we're here to make sure that you're doing all the right things. So we're going to help you find as many advantages that are legally out there to help you pay less taxes. We all have to pay them, but we're going to help you pay as little as possible, utilizing the different products and services we have that are all approved government-wise to help you save.
Yeah, I think the misconception is, and maybe you ask this question, your clients, ask them, go to your tax preparer and see if they actually give you an advice what you should be doing before the event, because most tax preparers give you the advice after, right? Like, it's 2025 right now. So you know what? Getting tax advice for 2024, you can't do anything about it. You can't turn the clock backwards. When it comes down to tax planning, people need to start thinking about it. What am I going to do for this year? How do I go and make sure that I pay less tax now? Not talking to a tax preparer in 2026, asking them what they can do to reduce their taxes, because they're already reporting on what has already happened. It's after the event.
That's actually a great comment, and it's actually something we pride ourselves with. When we're meeting with clients and we see there's a tax potential benefit for them, or even like, I know we didn't talk about this, but or estate planning benefit, we'll tell them, look, do you have an estate attorney? Do you have a CPA? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they don't, we'll offer them referrals of professionals we work with. But if they do, we'll say, look, we've got some ideas that can benefit you. We would love to come and sit down at your next meeting with you and your CPA or state attorney or whoever the professional is they're working with, and give them our insights and hear what their insights are for your situation, so we can work as a team to help you grow and benefit as much as possible. So we will actually be proactive in offering those. So we're not having the conversation in 26 that I met you in February of 25. I gave you some ideas and you didn't act on it because you forgot to talk to your CPA about it. So then next year we're saying, did you do this? And they're like, no, we're proactive. We see that an idea, we will be on the client. And again, we will offer the time to go spend a meeting with that other professional so we can hear their insights. Because look, we don't profess to know everything. That's why there's other professionals out there. We want to give them the idea we're thinking, and we're open to hear the idea that they might have for different knowledge on the tax code that we might not know.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say, and being an advisor, former CFP myself, you want to act as a quarterback, right? I mean, how often do you actually get all of your professionals around finances around one table? And I think this is where advantage for you as a financial planner have it. Hey, let's even virtually get everybody on the same page. Because what I found when I was doing financial plans is that they would, clients would get advice from their mortgage broker, and then they would talk to their, insurance guy, and they would get a completely opposite effect. Or maybe they had a, investment broker or something, and nobody was talking to each other, and they were all following these individual strategies. I think what you're saying is, as a financial planner, you can go and help the client to actually, hey, what are all of the different strategies that you're doing? Maybe bring those people in, physically, but you can even go and do it virtually to start showing them that, hey, you know what? All of these plans are got to work together cohesively instead of working against each other.
Yes, 100%. That is 100% our philosophy. We know what our knowledge base is. I always mess up this quote, but the master of all, master of none. You can't know everything.
Yeah.
We don't profess it. We stay in our wheelhouse. We know what we're knowledgeable on. We know we're beneficial on. Even in our team, Stefan, with my business partner, he's got his wheelhouse on the team. I've got my wheelhouse. Like, I defer to him, because we can learn more if we specialize in what we know than try to specialize in the whole thing. So I'll defer to him. Okay, Stefan, I need this for a client. And that's what his specialty is. He'll defer to me for something else. So even in our two-person team, we don't try to specialize in the whole plan. We lean on each other so we can learn more and specialize in each part.
Yeah. No, it's a great point that you're mentioning, because a lot of people think, and I think a lot of, unfortunately, advisors are trying to act like they know it all. They know everything. And yes, you cannot be expert in everything. So it's great to kind of specialize, knowing what your strengths are, and really going and focusing on that, and then bring other individuals in, into kind of the fold, and helping them and working with the other advisors that they might be working with. And I think the biggest thing is that people need to realize that often, as a financial planner, you're not there to compete with anybody else. You're there to complement and actually help them to get better result. And as I've mentioned, if you can go and act as that financial quarterback, you can bring everybody in and make sure that that the client is getting the best advice they can, and make sure that the strategies that they're implementing are not actually competing with each other. And I think that's a big kind of a plus for working with a planner, a holistic planner that can go and start looking at that whole thing.
Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head in what you said there.
Yeah.
As we talked earlier, I'm in the business 30 plus years.
Yeah.
There's people that are in the business 30 plus years that think they know everything.
Yeah.
I go to 6 or so conferences a year, industry conferences, to attend sessions and hear what other people are doing. I pride myself, I use this quote all the time, on being that old dog you can teach new tricks. I believe that I can learn something every day, every week, every month. I can get better. And I don't believe I'm going to stop learning until the day God calls me. I believe I can always learn something. I can always listen to somebody, because there's always somebody that knows something a little different, maybe something a little better, that can teach me. And so I will always listen and always be open to, even with clients and prospective clients. If they've got an idea for their finances, I want them to tell me that, because it's their money. It might not make sense. I might disagree with them, but I want to hear it still.
Yeah. Oh, my quote to that is the more and more that I've learned and the more and more that I'm learning, the more and more I realize I know less. There is so much more there. I mean, when you look at all of the knowledge, especially around finances, there are so many different things that you can go into. It's impossible for somebody to know everything about everything. And, you know, you maybe heard this, and I can't remember who said this, but somebody said that, hey, I'm a self-made man. And the coach that was working with that individual said, oh, okay, what do you mean by that? Well, look at all of the stuff that I have built. I did it all myself. And he says, oh, let me ask you a question. The shoes that you're wearing, did you make those? The shirt that you have, the clothes that, oh, no, no, no. So all of the appointments that you have, you're the one that's setting all of them, or do you have a secretary? Well, I have a secretary. So this is kind of where the misconception is, that nobody can really know and know it all and have all of the answers. And I think that the biggest thing is when I'm working with advisors and when I'm speaking with them, what I try to tell them is the best way to work with your clients is when you put yourself in the conversation on the same side of the table, and the problem that that client has is the problem that you in a partnership can go and attack. Instead of being like, I'm trying to sell you something, or being kind of in an adversary position, you want to come to the same side of the table. And I think with financial planning, it's a great way of doing that, because you're not there telling them that, hey, you're doing something wrong and you shouldn't be doing this. You're telling them, hey, this is what it is. This is where you are at. And I do remember I had one client where literally I told them what the financial plan was and they threw me out of the house. They did not want to live in the reality. They just felt like they're going to keep on spending what they were doing. But I think if you can go and kind of be on the same side of the table and help those clients understand that, hey, we're in this together. I'm kind of here to help you. Let's figure out how we can go and achieve the the goal that you have in the future.
That's a fantastic analogy. In fact, what we do is, we're never going to tell a client they're doing something wrong, or a prospective client. We're going to tell them there's a philosophy. There's good, better, and best. You're doing something good because you're saving. You started saving for this goal. You started saving for that goal. This is a better way to obtain that goal with either less resources, less risk, or some sort of that in a plan. So, we'll always compliment them, because again, if they're saving, they did something good. If they're sitting down with a professional, they're doing something good because they realize they need help. So that's all good things. Our job is to help it become better.
Yeah. There is, I've got a very simple presentation to that. I talk about there is a red dot. This is where you are right now. Chances are, whatever situation you are in, that there is another version of whatever you're at. So if I put it at, hey, there is the version of Daniel right now, which I'm at the red dot, but there's also this blue dot. That's in the future. That's a little bit more, the version maybe 2.0 of Daniel. And all I'm after is, how do we get to that point? And I think this is where you've got a financial plan. You can actually start showing them what that may look like, and show them exactly how they need to, how they need to get there. So that's definitely a great way of doing that. So listen, after 30 years in the industry, what really motivates you and keeps you going to do this work? What drives you to keep helping clients achieve their financial goals?
Great question. The joy. I know that every September, August, September, I get pictures from families thanking me for their kid going to college. So I get a picture of the student in their dorm room or in front of something at their college. So I help that goal. When I'm sitting down with clients as they're retiring, and we're able to put together the plan, because most people think, oh, I'm saving all this money for retirement, but they don't think about how do they distribute the money in retirement. So I don't want to say it's easy to help them build the money, because it's not, but it's easier. The hardest part is getting them to understand how to distribute the income in retirement so they can enjoy retirement and make it their best vacation ever, because that's really what it is. And that's something we pride ourselves in. So the most joy when I can sit down with a client and say, okay, here's your retirement income distribution plan, and you did a great job saving. And because of that, you can get X amount of income. You can cover your needs. You can go travel. You can see your grandkids. You can do whatever you want to do. And you're even going to have some money left over to leave to your family or a charity or whatever you might want to do with it because you did such a good job. That gives me so much pleasure that I was able to help them get to that point and then show them how they can enjoy every minute of however long they have after they retire because they did a good job and now they have a plan that can show them how to spend it.
Yeah, I think you drive a great point. Yeah, 100% agree with you. Not that saving is the easy part, but that is the simpler part because you know exactly what needs to be done. When it comes down to distribution, it gets a lot more complicated. There's a quote of, I can't remember, he's a boxer. I can't remember exactly how he said, but he basically said, hey, anybody can retire right now. The only problem is we don't have enough cash flow to live the lifestyle that we want.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
everybody can retire. You just, do you have enough cash flow to be able to go and do all the things that you want? And having a plan and start seeing what needs to happen to that, because there is always the challenge. And I know when I was a planner myself, how do you still live the life and enjoy it right now and then save for retirement? Because I've seen it so often where people scrimp and save all their life and then they get retired, and literally the year they retire they get sick and they can't do all the things they wanted to do. So there kind of has to be that balance. Do you kind of have those conversations with your clients? Like it's not just about, hey, save for the retirement, but you also have to live your life right now. Do you kind of find that your clients try to keep that balance?
Well, that's a great question. Look, the last thing I want to do in any plan is take every penny of a client's things and put it towards the future. Because again, I want to enjoy my life. I want to know I go on a vacation with my family and have memories and go to a ball game with my son, go to a show with my daughter, and wife, So you have to live for today, knowing there's a future. You have to balance it. And again, in our planning strategy, we're going to look at it. It's okay. This is what we should budget towards this. We'll do a balance with them and, budget with them and show them, okay, you're bringing this much money, you're spending this much money. Okay, you need to save a little more for your future. So instead of going out to dinner 10 times a month, maybe you go out to dinner 5 times a month and eat home. Because then you're still enjoying life, but you're going to be able to enjoy life when you decide to clock out of work and retire because you saved some money for the future. So it is a balance. It is proper budgeting. And again, it is working with professionals that can look at all of these numbers and crunch them with you and help you figure out the best way to manage those dollars for now and for your future. And that's definitely something we pride ourselves in with our clients and prospective clients.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things that you kind of mentioned, and the way that I'm looking at things, there's never like the right way or the wrong way of doing things. There are many different ways of doing it. What it comes down to, what is the best way that fits into who you are? And again, this is where customized plan is really customized to you, because the advice and the plan that you have could be completely different in somebody else, maybe even in the same situation, but they look at life differently. They see things a little bit different. One of the things I want to mention to you, I know there were several clients that I've had, and unfortunately this was their thinking before they start doing any financial planning, they would go get a raise at work and they would get a $500 raise, and to celebrate, they would go and get a $700 a month payment on a car. And I'm like, hold on, you don't understand. You're not getting $500 raise. You're getting, after taxes, you got to take taxes off of that. So you're not even getting 500. You're maybe getting like 300 or 350, and now you've gone and got an expense that's double that. That means that you got to go and make that $750 payment for a car. You got to go and make like $1,100 for that. And they didn't quite understand that often because they just thought, I got this raise, I've got all of this extra money, I can go and buy stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that even in the days that I remember, I'm not sure if people are still doing that, where they're like buying things not because they can afford to buy the things, but because they can afford to buy the payment. And it's like that's not how you can operate. Do you kind of see that with individuals that are kind of misguided a little bit?
Yes, I definitely see clients that overspend and overextend their needs. And it's something that, I'll have a candid conversation with them. I'll sit down and say, look, we need to cut some areas so you can have a future. And if they don't want to listen to that because I'm not making logical sense, that, I talked about earlier, then we'll walk away and say, look, we're not a match, because I can only help if you want help. And any good professional can only help you if you want help. It's not just myself. So you have to realize that, yeah, because Chase gave you $10,000 credit limit doesn't mean you need to spend $10,000. If you need to use it for something, or you want to splurge here and there, and you say, okay, it's not going to affect me. I want to go on vacation. I haven't gone on vacation in a bunch of years, and that's how you're going to pay for it. But you say, okay, I'm not going to go on vacation again until I pay it down, and I'm going to pay more than the minimum. And look, I'm not going to tell people not to enjoy their lives. But if you're spending it, you can't pay the minimum, and you have $10,000 in debt, and you pay let's just say your minimum payment's $500. You pay $500, and it gives you $300 in free credit that month, and you go out and spend the $300 going out to dinner. I'm going to say to them, you need to slow this down, because you're not helping yourself. You're paying $500 to get $300 to use it, and then you pay another $500 to get $300 to use it. Pay the $500, or maybe pay $600, and start knocking it down so you can be comfortable. So when you want to go out to that dinner somewhere down the road, you're paying $300 for your $300 dinner.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, you drive a great point. So looking back on your career, what are you most proud of, Domenick?
There's a few ways, great question. There's a few ways I can answer that. One, my company that I started with was bought by another company, which was bought by the company that I'm with now. So I pride myself that I never was with that advisor, because in this industry, people go from company to company to company. Which I feel is in the best interest of my clients, that I haven't done that, that I've stayed with the same company. So I haven't called up and said, okay, come with me now. I got better products at this new company, which, yeah, I make new money on the new sales, and it costs them money. And maybe I did a good job. Maybe I didn't do a good job if I did that, but I've never had to do that, because I've never seen it as a need to change, to go somewhere else to try to help them more, because I've always had good products and services, no matter which of the three companies I've been with. It's gotten better and better because the companies have gotten bigger and bigger that have bought the company prior. So that's one of my big things. And then all of the people over the 30 years that I can genuinely say are grateful that they met me, knowing that they retired, knowing their kids went to college, knowing they bought their first house, they were able to pay for their wedding, whatever goal it might be. I have hundreds and hundreds of stories like that, of people that I know that I made an impact in their life in some way, shape, or form, that somebody else might have, but I know that if they didn't meet me, they wouldn't be where they are today. So that makes me happy to know that I've changed many lives, and even some of the lives I didn't change, that I don't know, like, they could have been an estate, so somebody inherited money because I was able to help out. So I helped out people I might never have met. Sometimes you don't meet the beneficiaries. I'd love to meet them all. I'd love to continue to help them, but you can't always meet them. So I've helped lives that I don't even know I've helped.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, listen, I really appreciate your story. As we're closing, as we get to the end of the podcast, is there anything else that you just kind of want to add on or share with our listeners?
Covered a good amount. I don't think there's anything else that, I can add. It's just that, at DanDarah Wealth Management, we truly want to take the time to get to know you, know that we care for you, know that we're readily available. We tell all of our clients the same thing, same expectation. If you call us between 8 and 8 on a non-holiday weekday, we're going to try to get back to you as quick as possible. We don't want you sitting back worrying about something. We want you to call us with your questions and concerns, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So for anyone inspired by your story and interested in learning more about you and your company, what's the best way to connect with you?
I can be emailed at Domenick.D'Andrea at terrainvestors.com. You can go to our website, which you see behind me and my screen. It's DanDarah Wealth Management. .com is our website, and all our contact information is there, whether it's social media, whether it's our emails, our phone numbers. So we make ourselves readily available to be found.
That's great. Domenick, thank you for sharing your insights and experience with us today. It's been a pleasure having you here on the Finance Leader podcast. And I'm sure our listeners have gained valuable takeaways on the importance of financial planning and the importance of really tailoring the advice to individual needs. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the Finance Leader podcast for more insights from thought leaders in the financial industry. Until next time, take care and keep building your financial future on solid ground.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Finance Leaders Retirement Insights.